Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't made a video in a while, but I've been preoccupied with other things. But I do have an important update video for you guys today. And it is with regards to my Camry XSE V6. It has finally hit 20,000 miles. Just got back from the service. Let's go outside. So here's the car. I know it's a little dirty, but I just got back from the Toyota dealership. 20,000 mile service, so oil change, oil filter change. They checked, topped off all the fluids, did a tire rotation, checked everything else, multi-point inspection. In today's video, I really want to go over the good and the bad. 20,000 mile update. Things that things that have been phenomenal and things that haven't been so good. So let's get into the video. Starting with the good. The good is I haven't had any real problems with this car with regards to things breaking. So ultimately, the good with this car, very little maintenance, obviously just the scheduled maintenance in the car, 10,000 tire rotations. So no real big problems. That it's everything I expected. The fuel economy is a little lower than I expected, but I do have the D3 tunes, so that could be basically a probable cause for that. So one thing that really surprised me was, and I'd say actually this is a good point. I'm gonna just come inside just because it's very cold out. One of the good things I'd say about the Camry, this generation, the V6, is just how reliable they are. I'm not gonna say too reliable just because it's only been 20,000 miles, but specifically, I pushed the car very hard. As you guys can see it out there, I pushed the car very hard. I'm not really light. I don't drive like the typical Camry driver, if that makes any sense. I push the car hard. I go pretty fast on the highway. I do accelerations. Obviously, I do videos for YouTube, acceleration videos, revving. So sometimes I rev the piss out of it. Sometimes I'm going through a tunnel. I'll drop a gear. I'll use the paddle shifters, which ultimately put more stress on the transmission and the engine than the typical Camry driver would do. And what I mean by typical Camry driver is 60, 70-year-olds who are even getting an XLE V6 or even just XSE drivers who are just putting it in normal mode and just driving pretty slow, not really accelerating, all that stuff. So negatives with the car. I'd say definitely the wheel and the tire. Whole situation, as you guys know, a very popular video of mine, I bent and ultimately cracked a rim driving here in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. And I would say if you're thinking about getting the XSE, whether it's the 4-cylinder or the V6, get the tire and wheel package, just because these wheels and these tires, I mean, just look how thin they are. And then obviously you have a very, I'd say fragile wheel, just because I've had to go through the process a couple times of either replacing a tire and then obviously replacing the wheel, which cost me about $600. So go watch that video if you want to see more information on that. But besides from that, I mean, everything's been great with this car. I mean, I pushed the car hard and nothing has really broken, or there's been no leaks, there's been no big issues. There's been one recall on the car, and it was with regards to the fuel pump, which I did get replaced. I think they had to take out, I know the car, I'm gonna see if it's open. Yeah, they had to take out this seat. I just have some camera gear there in order to replace the fuel pump, but that was obviously free of charge, and Toyota basically did that complimentary because they ultimately messed up with the high pressure fuel pump. But besides from that, really no issues with the car. I just want to do a 20,000 mile update, things I like, things I don't like. Definitely love the choice I went with, the V6. You can't beat the V6, you really can't. And I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, well, the four-cylinder gives you better fuel economy. Indeed, it does. And the hybrid obviously gives you even better fuel economy. But I just love the power and ultimately the sound of this V6. I'll open it up so I can show you guys. I ultimately love that also. It's one of the last cars in its class really to have a naturally aspirated V6. Let's see if I can find the tether here. It's obviously one of the last cars in its class to have the naturally aspirated V6. And that's just something I love about this car, is you get the sound, you get the power. And obviously it's not the quickest car around the block, but it's definitely a car that It sounds good, and it's got a V6, naturally aspirated, pretty big V6 too, 3.5 liters in displacement. So it's one of the last cars to have that. Obviously the Accord's dropped it. A lot of other cars are going towards hybrids. And I do believe that in the next generation Camry, there is going to be no V6 option. I could be 100% wrong, but the reason and I made a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go into it. It's the way Toyota's going with hybrids and with the new Sienna. I think they're going to eventually phase this engine out. But I do love the engine. That's probably the biggest thing. I love the engine. I love the exhaust. Obviously, you guys know I have the MagnaFlow exhaust. I'll show you back here. Car's filthy, but there's the back. That's really it. I mean, there's not many two other things that I really want to touch on, because this video could be a half hour long. But I did hit 20,000 miles, and it's just something to look out for, a couple of things I mentioned. So I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you next time.